when we live this kind of life, be it as human being or be it as any other being, we sometimes should reflect upon what we want to do with our life. We have 3 choices after this life. The normal choices go down to hell. We have the choice of going up to heaven, or we have the choice to break out of the circle of samsara-vatta, the endless circle of rebirth. So when we are coming here to a monastery, we should reflect carefully about what we want to do with our life. If we come here just with the purpose of massaging our heart, then maybe it's not the proper place here. Massaging the heart, when I talk about massaging the heart, makes just producing nice feelings, good feelings. There's nothing to be achieved with it. Just for the moment. Just like if you want to go to a movie and for 2 hours, we have a pleasant time. After the 2 hours are gone, all our problems, all our troubles come back. And the same thing will happen when we do meditation, as it is taught by most of the people in the West. Nothing will change. Only for the moment it will change. And then after we stop it, everything comes back in the same way. All our problems come back, the bad feelings come back. So this is not the way. This monastery is designed for the people who want to break out, who want to escape from the prison of eternity, of eternal rebirth. That's what this monastery is designed for. That's what this monastery is designed for. And the venerable teacher of this monastery has gone the way before us. And with all his setup of the monastery, how we live together, how we eat together, how we do the chores together, he has designed it with the purpose of having the maximum freedom to practice. The practice is designed for the practice to lead out to the end of dukkha. Other monasteries or other places, meditation centers, and there are, when you look in the West, there are enormous quantity of meditation centers and enormous quantity of meditation teachers. They all teach something. And it's all helpful in some way or in some respect, but it's not designed, to break out of the circle. It's just designed like as psychology, to make us a good feeling. To produce a good feeling or to be happy with the world as it is. But not to break out. When we come here and when we want to break out, we have to be really prepared to be freedom fighters. We need to fight for our freedom. The kilesas, or when you don't know the word kilesas, have a grip on us. Avijja, that is the one who rules us, he's the prison guard. And he has no interest in letting us go. We cannot persuade him, we cannot do anything to let him go, except for fighting. So the language that Tanaja Mahabua uses, the abbot of this monastery, is the language of fighting. Fighting against the kilesas until the kilesas give in, until the kilesas completely disappear from our heart and the freedom arises. That is the destiny, that is the end of our work. Once we finished our work, that's it. Then we are free people. We are the only free people in this world. We are still imprisoned in this body, but the moment the body goes, we are free of everything. So when you come here, then you should at least reflect. for a few days, what do you want to do with your life? People in the world, normally want to get a job, then a family, and then they have kids, and then they die. They don't even think about what is worth it. They just go one way. Just go down to hell. What does us prevent us from going down to hell? It's keeping the 5 precepts. The 5 precepts the Lord Buddha taught us kindly is our protection not to fall down into the lower realms. The first precept is not to kill or not to harm any living being. The second precept is not to take what is not given. The third precept is not to lie and not to use harsh or false speech. The fourth precept is no sexual misconduct. That means not using somebody for one's own sexual pleasure. And the fifth is no alcohol and no drugs. Keeping these 5 precepts will give us a guarantee that we are not going to fall down into the lower realms. If we do not keep them, then we can be sure that we go there. Forever, however long. It is like the 5 precepts that the Lord Buddha teaches. It's like the law that we have in every country. If you go against the law, you have to pay a fine or you have to go to prison. If you know it or if you don't know it, if you believe it or not believe it, you have to do it. And this is the same thing with the law of the 5 precepts. If you go against them, that's what you get. If you believe it or not believe it, if you know it or not know it, this has no matter. Just like the law in all of the countries. There's no protection by not knowing or not believing it. And this is the same thing with the 5 precepts. If you keep the 5 precepts, then at least we have a guarantee that we can come back and be reborn as a human being. Be careful to keep them. And as long as you're in a monastery, you are at least required to keep them. You cannot stay here if you not keep them. You can keep the higher precepts if you wish to, the 8 precepts, but it's not necessary, it's not required. Just the 5 precepts. The first of the Noble Truth is the Noble Truth that there is dukkha. Every being in all the realms, and there are about 36 realms, experience dukkha. Our realm is the 5th realm. The realm below us are the animal realms. Then the ghost realms, demon realms, and the hell realm. Above us are the heavenly realms. There are 30 of them. But all the beings in all the realms still have dukkha. Dukkha, what does it mean? It's not only suffering. Dukkha means restlessness, agitation, unpleasantness, discomfort, pain, suffering, mental pain, physical pain, suffering. That is all what is comprised in this just container word dukkha. So this is the first of the Noble Truth. The second of the Noble Truth is the cause for our dukkha. And the cause for our dukkha is tanha, craving, wanting, the desire to be or the desire not to be, the desire to become or not to become. Just the desire. Wanting this, wanting that. Not wanting this or not wanting that. The third of the Noble Truth is just a happy statement for people who want to get rid of their dukkha, that there is an end of the dukkha. And the fourth Noble Truth is the way that leads to the end of the dukkha. And this is comprised of 3 columns. The first column is the 5 precepts. It's called Sila. It's the 5 precepts that I just talked about. The second column is Samadhi. That's what we are going to practice. And then next, or the third column, is wisdom. Wisdom that cuts through the 10 fetters that binds us to this realm of rebirth. This is the way out of dukkha. Sila, Samadhi and Panya. And if you are here longer, you will hear it more often. Sila, the 5 precepts. Samadhi, concentration, awareness, mindfulness. And Panya is wisdom. But don't mix up wisdom with knowledge. Wisdom cannot be gained through our mind. Wisdom can only be gained in our heart. So we have to relearn. Because we think, in the West we think, that we can gain wisdom through learning a lot. Through reading a lot of books, and through learning, through understanding. But wisdom that we need to, that delivers us to freedom, cannot be learned by books, cannot be understood. We can only do one thing. We can only teach our heart to see what it does is not healthy. To see what it does is unwholesome. Or to see what it does is wholesome. This is the teaching that is called wisdom. Teaching the heart. To show the heart that what we are doing is wholesome or unwholesome. And to understand the causes for our unwholesome thoughts, our own unwholesome actions, and our unwholesome speech. And to understand the causes of our wholesome actions, of our wholesome speech, and of our wholesome thoughts. This is the way of Panya. But in order, before we are going to practice, before we even go to the path, to become monks or to become lay people, we have to have 3 requirements that is necessary for us to develop before we actually can come and stay at a place like this. This is the column of generosity. Being able to be generous, to give away. Give away whatever we have. Material things in the beginning. Why is it important? Because it is material things, giving away of material things is much easier than giving away of one's own personal thoughts and imaginations, views and opinions. So if we are stuck in this material world, if we are not generous with the things that we have, how can we ever let go of our views, opinions that keep us in the realm of dukkha? It's impossible. So generosity is one of the columns that we have to practice, and also it's a column, also it's a quality, or also it's a virtue that makes us able to become monks or makes us able to stay at a monastery where there are no costs. In a place that is free, that is free to practice, where everything of us is supported. If we haven't supported people in our life, or in our previous lives, if you haven't given away money, or if you haven't given away cloth and food and so on, we wouldn't be able to stay here for long. And if you're not going to continue, as long as we are lay people, if you're not going to continue to practice generosity, we are not going to experience this in the next slides. Gratitude. Gratitude, to be pleased with whatever is given to us, or pleased whatever happens to us, be it good or be it bad. This is one of another virtue that is required. When we are going to practice samadhi, and this thing happens or that thing happens, then we should be grateful that we are, for instance, that we are in this environment of this monastery, or that these things happen to us. When we experience, for instance, samadhi, appana samadhi, deep state of samadhi, then we automatically are grateful. And it can also happen that our tears are flowing because out of gratefulness. So this is something that we should develop, or should be prepared to develop, this kind of virtue. And respect is another one. Respecting one's parents, respecting the teachers, the worldly teachers, respecting the spiritual teachers. is one very essential part. And that is an essential part where most of the Westerners break. Because in the West we are brought up, or we are now educated, that we do not respect anybody else than ourselves. And this is the end of our practice. We don't get any further. And the Westerners, even if they ordain as a monk, that's where they are. They don't get beyond respect. They don't have enough respect. They only respect themselves. They only think they are clever. Because we are educated in the West, we are clever. We are cleverer than people who are 50, 60 or 70 years. Because we just come from university. So we just have studied, we just knew the newest things. And then we think we are cleverer than our parents, or we are cleverer than the teachers, or we are cleverer than the older people. And this is our downfall. It's called conceit. You can call it conceit. And conceit is going down. It's bringing us down very fast. Why is respect so important? When you think about the way that leads to the end of dukkha, this is the way, like the Lord Buddha says, to fight as a single person against an army is easy. To fight oneself is much more difficult. So we have to fight ourselves. We have to fight what we believe is ourself. That's where the problem is. And that's where respect pays a great deal. So if you don't have respect for other people, if you don't have respect and trust in our teacher or in the spiritual teacher, then this is the end of our practice. How can we ever get further? Because we respect only ourselves, but we have to actually fight ourselves. Our views and our opinions are the breakdown of our practice. And what I experienced in the years that I have been here in Thailand and also in Europe is that that's where it ends with most of the monks. They don't have enough respect, they don't trust enough their teacher so that they can go beyond this breaking point. And that's why they don't get out. They just don't get out of the cycle. They remain in the cycle. They remain after 20 or 30 years of being a monk. They think they are much cleverer than everybody else. They have sussed it all out. That's what they call it. But they haven't gone to the end. Because the end is there is no self. That's what the Lord Buddha teaches. No self. He gives us the three characteristics as a help. And the three universal characteristics are anicca, anatta, dukkha. Anicca is impermanence. Whatever arises will cease and change. There's nothing in this universe, there's nothing that you see and that you encounter, that you experience, that you feel, that is eternal. Everything arises and ceases. The body arises and ceases, a feeling arises and ceases, a thought arises and ceases, memory and association arises and ceases, and even consciousness arises and ceases. So, this is one of the characteristics. And then the Lord Buddha says, whatever arises and ceases cannot be our true self. This cannot be self. So views and opinions that arise and cease cannot be our self. But we believe so strong that whatever we've done in our life, all our past and all our prolonged future, that is us. We have been this baby, the baby differs very much from the other. But we still believe this is us. We're still going to believe that this body is us. It's like we are so stupid, like the driver of a car believes that the car and the driver are one and the same person. When the car dies or crashes down, then he weeps. It has nothing to do with the driver, huh? Think about very clearly. The driver and the car are very different things. Without the driver, the car won't fudge. It won't do a thing. If you don't put the keys into in the keyhole, and turn it around, the ignition will not start. The engine will not run, and if you do not turn the wheel or do not put on the accelerator or on the brake, the car will not go. And so is it the same thing with the chitta and with the body. The body is just the car. It's nothing else. Of course, we have to take care of this car. We have to take care of this body that is running. So we have to give it some food or some energy and clean. So that's all. Per day, half an hour. It's enough. Where we have to take care of this body. And the rest is there for our practice. Remember this well. The car and the driver are two different things. But we do believe, when we look in the mirror, we believe, oh, today I look good. And tomorrow I look in the mirror and think, oh, I look bad. So, what do I look like? Bad or good? It changes constantly. Our opinions, our views of our body changes constantly. Our feelings changes constantly. And our thoughts change constantly. We just think the opposite, and we don't see the controversy of it. Yesterday I thought like this, or when I was young I thought like this, and today I think like this. Just the opposite. So what is this? What is me? What is mine? What belongs to me? Is it that what I thought, yesterday, is this me? Or is that what I think today? Is it me? What is it? It's completely opposite. Today I have good thoughts and yesterday I have bad thoughts. And tomorrow I have bad thoughts again and in 2 days I have good things again. Or experience the same thing. Feelings the same thing. Everything changes. Everything constantly arises and ceases. How can this be ourselves? How can we be so stupid enough and believe these things are ourselves? We might believe in the laws of changing and think, oh yeah, that's the way it is. But then what is ourself? Ask yourself, what is that what is constantly there? Ask yourself, what is there what you really can call the self? What is there what is eternal? And just get rid of the things that are not eternal. Get rid of the things, or get rid of the attachment to the things that are just arising and ceasing. And we cannot even change it. If it would be our feelings, then we could say, I want to feel good, Do you feel good? No, of course not. And if you feel bad, if you want to feel bad, then you can say, I want to feel bad, but you don't feel bad. So you don't even have any control over these things. Think about very carefully. We don't have control over feelings. We don't have to control over thoughts. Thoughts are coming in, and then cluttering our mind like a sewer. Do we have any controls not letting them in? Huh? They come. They just come. Memories just come. Of course we can pick up some of the thoughts what you will want to see. But most of the thoughts, 99% of the thoughts are just coming in, So, cluttering and making ourselves stink. They're just there to make bad thoughts. Bad memories come, and bad feelings arise. Good memories will come, and good feelings arise. Constantly they are coming. Constantly they are bothering us. What is it? Can I call this I? Can I call this mine? That's me. Okay, then I should be happy with this impermanence. And shouldn't complain. If you really want to call this changing, but you don't call the tree that is close in front of your eyes yourself. Or do you call it? You see it changing all the time. Huh? Why don't you call the tree that is in front of yourself, or the animal that is in front of yourself? Why do you call it the things that you see yourself? Your arm. Oh, this is my arm. Or this is my face. Or this is my hair. Or this is my cloth. If it's only in a circle, In the circle of half a meter, you call it yourself. And everything else that is outside of this circle, you call it other. Why is that? Why? Think about it. Use your brain not only, to masturbate. Use the brain, to use something useful. Think about what you're doing. Think about why you're doing it. Why do you call these things, yourself, and why do you call other things that are within your sight not yourself? Or what you hear? Why don't you call that yourself? Because you're actually hearing it. You call the ears yourself, but you don't call the sound yourself. So where's the difference? Huh? Think. Now use your brain, sometimes to think about these things. Why do you call this yourself? The sound arises and ceases. The body arises and ceases. Everything arises and ceases in this environment. What is that? Wie? Elisabeth Braun. Ist das der Umschlag, oder? Hast du übrigens den Brief, Okay. Ja, wo kommt der eigentlich her? Wer hat dir den gegeben?
Oder irgendjemand. Ich habe keine Ahnung, wo ich das ich habe Angst davor, dass da drin steht, dass sie hier hinkommt.
Ja.
Also dann bin ich ein Problem haben, aber den Rest ich habe keine Ahnung.
Elizabeth Brown, das ist hier aus Australien, oder?
Nee, das ist Elizabeth Brown.
Ach so. Okay. Got it. So the universal characteristic, anicca, anatta, dukkha. The Lord Buddha gives us the help, anatta. Anatta, that means not self. He says, these things that arise and cease, these are not our self. That is not me, that doesn't belong to me, this is not myself. Just like this. A thought that arises, this is not me, this doesn't belong to me, this is not myself. A feeling that arises, this is the same thing. The body is not me, doesn't belong to me, this is not myself. And because of all these things, because we are all attached to this arising and ceasing nature, and we all think, this is our self. So if the good feeling changes into a bad feeling, then we experience dukkha. And dukkha is the third characteristic. Because the two characteristics exist, and we are attached to the things around us, or we are attached to the things that we believe that is ourself, that's why dukkha arises. So we have to find a way of wisdom, to cut and undermine these beliefs. And this is the way of wisdom. This is the way of practice. But before we're going to start even the practice, we have to get our mind calm. We have to get our mind objective. Because at the moment it's subjective. So we are going to use two methods. One is mindfulness. Mindfulness, but not in the sense of, our mind is full of something, but mindfulness in the sense of awareness. Awareness of what is coming into the mind. Just being aware. A feeling is coming, a thought is coming, an association, a memory, a body is coming into play. Just this awareness. Just noting what is coming into the mind. This is called mindfulness, or this is called awareness. Actually, the better word would be mind emptiness. That is true mindfulness. If our mind is completely empty of concepts and views and opinions, and it's just aware of what is coming into our heart or into our chitta that is located at the center of the chest, that is true mindfulness. And true mindfulness has the one advantage that the kilesas are out of power. They are powerless. They have no power over us. Once we are truly mindful, and that's why I call it objective, we see things clearly. And if you don't see things clearly, then it's not really useful to go the way of wisdom. If we see things clearly, this is this, this is that. This belongs to this belongs to that. This arises first and this arises later. This is objective looking. This is training of wisdom. So without mindfulness, we don't have it. Without awareness, we cannot do it. So we first have to foster samadhi. The samadhi is calm meditation, is meditation of bringing the mind to one point. So, one point, not 2 points. And we do that normally with a meditation object. The meditation object can be the breath at the tip of the nose, no other place. The tip of the nose and just noting that the breath is coming in or the breath is going out. Or the breath is at its height or the breath is at its low. Or the breath is changing from in-breath to out-breath. Whatever. Or the breath is deep or the breath is shallow or the breath is long or the breath is short. This is mindfulness of breathing in and breathing out. Or we are mindful of the word, the mental repetition of the word Buddha. Buddha, 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 Buddha. And we do that as long. We do it from the moment we open our eyes to the moment we close our eyes. We do just this one meditation object. We are not concerned about anything else. The only thing that we can do is in this time, we switch from one position to the other. From sitting position to walking position. When we do walking meditation, we walk up and down. And having the same object that in our sitting position. We don't change the object of meditation. So when we have the Buddha, then we walk. Normally, we just walk up and down and have the Buddha, 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 Buddha going. And when we do the walking, it's a very nice experience. When we walk for a long time, so when we walk for 2 or 3 or 4 hours, then after 2 or 3 hours maybe, the Buddha is lost and there's just walking. There's nobody who is walking. That is a very interesting experience. The person who has been walking all the time, just has disappeared. And all what remains is just walking. And the same can happen when sitting. When sitting, normally it can go deeper that not only our body disappears, but the whole universe disappears. And that is called true one point. It's 1 point, not 2 points. The moment when we train, when we still train our mindfulness, then there's an observer and there's the object observed. Until these 2 objects merge, or when these 2 objects merge, then we can call it 1 point. And when there's only one object, then this universe cannot exist. And all what exists is what you can call our true self. What's the only thing that is remaining. And you can call it the true knowing nature of the heart, or the true knowing nature of the chitta, or the clear knowing nature. Or you can also, like Tanaja Mahaprabhu calls it, the preview of Nibbana, or the Nibbana of the little man. That is where we first time, when go into the deep state of Samadhi, that is for the first time where we have really a vision of what is Nibbana like, what is freedom is really like. When we come out of this deep state of Samadhi, when everything has disappeared, we will never ever forget this. In this whole life, we will never ever forget this experience. It is like burnt into our heart. And the next thing that we want to do once we get out of it, we want to get back into it. And that is fine. Once we get out of it, we have a lot of energy. It is like we put our fingers into an AC plug and we're completely charged. We are full of energy. And our mind is completely calm. It sees everything arising and ceasing, and it's in line with the nature. It's in line with the truth. And that's where we actually, after this experience, that's where we're going to start our investigation. Before that, it's pretty much fruitless. Before that, it's just thinking about this or thinking about that. And if thinking would have helped us, to go beyond dukkha, we all would have been relieved of dukkha a long, long time ago. All the philosophers of the West, have tried to find a way out of dukkha. They all think until they went crazy. That is the state of when we can't stop thinking, then we become crazy. When we stop thinking, then we experience the wonders of this universe. So this is the deep state of samadhi. In between, before we come into the deep state samadhi, we normally drop into upachara samadhi. Upachara samadhi is like being in a safe place, like being in a safe haven. Once you get out from the storm of the seas and go into the haven, then you feel secure. The storm is still there and everything is still there, but you feel safe as long as you're in this haven. Or you can describe it as while you're in the storm on hail and you find a glass house, then you open the door, you close the door behind you. You still see everything, but nothing touches you. The rain doesn't touch you and there's no fear and there's nothing. But you see everything like it is. Yes? You just see it, everything clear. This is called upachara samadhi or exa samadhi as it is phrased in it. And this is our first aim when we come here, to achieve to these states. To make our mind extremely calm. And I can guarantee you, if you don't keep on your meditation object for the whole day, you won't achieve it. You have to force the mind. And that's where the battle comes in. You have to force the mind to stay put. Whenever it goes out, grab it at its tail and put it back to its meditation object. Don't even ask yourself why you do it, just do it. Don't think, this is a waste of time, because this is just the end of the practice. Or now I'm tired, or now I'm this, or now I'm that, or now I'm this, or now it's too hot, now it's too cold, now it's this, or now it's that. Just do it. And then you will enter within a few days or a few weeks. Once you keep it going, there's no way that prevents you from stepping down. You can even go down into appana samadhi within a few weeks. But if you consist of talking to this person, or doing this, or doing that, or doing this in between, or doing that in between, then you will never. If you don't force the mind to stay put, the mind will not stay put. It has not been trained to stay put. We have trained it, to go on here and to go on there. We have never trained it to stay put. Just put with this one object. So, this is our job. It's the easiest job in the world. We don't have to understand a lot. We just have to understand that our mind should stay with the Buddha or with the Brahma. That's all what we have to understand. And whatever comes into the mind is just a nuisance, it's just a damn nuisance. It's just the way of the kilesas to prevent us from our practice. That's all what you can say in the beginning. So, and with this I close the talk. Now if you have any questions, then you can ask.